Hey everyone, and welcome to the Daley Doodle, a channel of how-tos, business advice, and tutorials for creative people. My name is Dale, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about how you can come up and be inspired for an idea for an illustrated book. So I've been asked a lot online about Travel Problems, which is my series of illustrated books that I came up with, and how I came up with the idea, how I got to a point where I was able to create an illustrated book. And I want to talk you through a few mindsets and ideas of how I was able to get to a point where releasing a book was even possible. Because I think when you think about illustration within books, there are kind of two strands really. One, you think children's book illustration, and two, you think of comic books. So you think of Marvel superheroes, you think of graphic novels where there's a narrative, a series of characters, and a story that has to be written with a series of illustrations that goes with it. And I think a lot of artists and illustrators think if they can't fall into one of those two buckets, they can't produce any publications, they can't produce any literature. And I think that's just not the case. I think about some of the artists and comic book writers and illustrators that inspired me, some of the big ones, Sarah Anderson, The Oatmeal, Katana Comics. All of them were able to release books and publish books purely out of their desire and their ability to just kind of draw on a daily basis. And that's something that happened with me. So thinking back to 2.5 years ago when I started traveling, I never set out to release a book. For me, Travel Problems was something that happened organically. I started drawing about travel and the funny side of travel because that was something that interested me. You look at The Oatmeal, you look at Sarah Anderson, you look at Katana Comics, they all illustrate about day-to-day life and things that have a very big reference point in their lives. They don't set out to create books. They set out to just entertain their audience and produce content. And what happens is over time, they amass enough content that they think, okay, I can string this together as a story or a narrative, and then I can release a book at the end of it. And I think you have to go in with that mindset. So one thing that really helped me was a daily challenge, was to try and draw every day. And it does help if there's an underlying arch and theme, but initially, I think you just need to get into that habit of just drawing. Drawing what's on your mind, drawing your frame of reference, drawing what's going on around you. Doing that then every day, you'll look back in 6 or 12 months and you'll start to think, yes, I have enough content now where I probably could put this in a book that has some reference or some ability to resonate with some people, particularly if you've been able to grow your audience over that time. What you'll then have to think about then as well is the digital skills needed to not only put that content into a book, but then produce that. And that is something that I'm going to cover in a later video. So please stick around for that and check out the rest of the channel. So that's something that you need to be wary of is you don't have to be a children's book illustrator or a comic artist to produce an illustrated book. You just need a great series of drawings and you need a good narrative. And two, think about doing this on a daily basis. Think about setting up habits where you're just drawing every day, drawing what's around you, drawing your frames of reference. A lot of people say to me, how do you get inspired? And it's very simple. You just kind of look around, just kind of be out in nature, kind of keep an eye on things, look to make connections between two things. Don't look at your phone all the time. Just think about what's going on around me, what interests me and what intrigues me. For me, when I was traveling, the silly, funny side of traveling was something that I really enjoyed illustrating about. And if you can do that and just be consistent and keep it up every day, you'll look back in 6, 12, 18 months and you'll have a series of drawings that you could then put together to create an illustrated book that tells a story that can resonate with a lot of people. So don't set out to create an illustrated book, set out to create content and that tells stories and expresses you in some way that can resonate with an audience, and then the book will come naturally further down the line. So I hope that was helpful, guys, to give you some inspiration about an illustrated book that you could put together at some point. Please comment below, let me know any ideas or feedback you have or any other videos that you would like me to produce in the future. And best of luck.